Hi there, and thank you for joining me here today on our first remote episode. Today's guest is Vincent Cantin, a colleague from Metosin, who you might have seen in the Heart of Clojure episode if you watched that one. Vincent started his career in game development after writing a Game Boy Advance emulator as a hobby at the end of his studies. This project landed him his first game development gig in Taiwan over 20 years ago, after which he spent 15 years in the game industry before moving towards web development and Clojure. Today, we're going to take a bit deeper look into his latest open source project, MCP Toolkit, that is meant to provide the necessary tools to unify the MCP Toolkit development in Clojure. But without further ado, let's get into the episode. I hope you like him. Well, Vincent, thank you for joining me here today. I've been watching your open source stuff from the sidelines for a while now, and I wanted to just get a chance to talk to you and learn more about what you're doing because I really haven't had the time to dig into it. So thank you for joining me here today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Would you like to introduce yourself at first? I'm pretty sure that a lot of people don't know yet who you are. They might have seen you from the previous video when we went to Heart of Clojure in Belgium. But
yeah, that one. I can talk about me a little bit. I was born in France and studied computer science because I wanted to be a game developer. And after graduated from the university, I decided just to travel a little bit. So I went to Taiwan. And I thought I would go there for about 3 months, which was the duration of the visa at that time. My mom was worried about me not coming back. And in the end, I stayed there 20 years.
20 years?
Yeah, sorry, Mom.
What year did you go to Taiwan in the first place?
That's a long story. That was the second time I went there. The first time I had a girlfriend in Taiwan, that's why. But we broke up in the meantime. But after I got my diploma, I saw that maybe before rushing toward getting a job, then I should enjoy life a little bit because I heard some stories of people working too much until they cannot stop and they don't know how to take a rest.
Sounds like a good plan. So you stayed 20 years in Taiwan. Were you working in IT the whole time, or what did you do there?
So that was a kind of surprise. As I said, I did not plan to stay there at all. I was just supposed to be a tourist, learn a bit the language because I was curious. In Taiwan, they speak Mandarin, and they write Chinese characters in the traditional way. So it's a different writing from how they write in China. And the reason why I stayed there is because I had a hobby at that time. I was developing a Game Boy Advance emulator in Java. So there was one person that I knew from Taiwan who was interested in this emulator, and we met in a coffee shop. And I had no idea who he was, but after we met, I realized that he was working in a game company. And since I wanted to start making video games, I thought, that's interesting. And he also told me that his company was looking for somebody to work there. So I said, that's actually very interesting. And they were interested in my profile because they were developing a Game Boy Advance video game at the time. And they needed to know somebody. They needed somebody who knows the hardware. And I was pretty well informed about the hardware at the time.
How did you learn about the hardware? Did you have the Game Boys and you just broke them apart and learned about it, or did you just learn from the documentation? Or
so I wrote it when I was in my last year of master degree, which normally when you are there, you should study what you are supposed to study. And as many students, I was not doing that. I was doing something else just for fun. So I guess this was my plan B when I procrastinated doing the plan A. And how I did that is just started one weekend where I had time, and I thought, maybe I will try something. I will write the base of an emulator and just emulate a few instructions of that simple machine. And I started with the very basic information I had about the platform. I digged the official documentation of the CPU. It was a ARM7 TDMI from ARM, and all the technical information was already available on internet. It was public, so the CPU was the first stop for me. And I made one small demo work because I found some documentation about how the rendering pipeline was working on the Game Boy Advance. Sorry if you can hear my cat.
It's okay.
And I made a small demo work, and later when I had time again, I tried to improve it. And it's like this, that just by not giving up on improving the emulator, I made it work pretty well. So at some point, it started to emulate some commercial games.
Oh, that's cool. Is it still available?
It is still available. It has a funny name. When I say that, it means I'm a bit ashamed now that I am grown up. Remember, I wrote that when I was a student, and I wanted to play with the words of Game Boy Advance. There was boy in the name. And I thought, that's a bit unfair. I will name mine Girlfriend Advance. And
Okay.
Sorry.
It's okay. That got you your job in the game company in Taiwan by doing that work, right?
Yeah. And actually, that was probably because I made it open source. At that time, there was a lot of competition between emulator authors, and everybody wanted to have the best, the most compatible, the fastest, or the most user-friendly. And me, I just wanted to make it work for myself. And I was a bit scared that because I wanted to start a career in the game industry, that writing an emulator would put myself on a blacklist. So I made sure that the emulator was not useful for video games. Like the only way you could play was by checking on and off some checkbox on a UI. If you wanted the character to go right, you had to check the checkbox. If you wanted him to stop going right, uncheck the checkbox. So nobody would play with that.
Okay. You were future-proofing your career in gaming.
Yeah. But I was surprised because I didn't realize that just making it open source was a factor that made somebody in Taiwan know about the emulator and wanted to meet me. I would not be in Taiwan for that.
So your open source career started already back then. And which year was this?
I'm not sure. Let me see. Around 2002, I guess.
Okay, a while ago already.
Yeah.
After you published this open source package and you got the job, did you stay with that company for a long time, or what happened next?
So in Taiwan, there is a lot of dynamic, and at that time, that was the far west of video games. So a lot of projects were started, and people were kind of discovering how to make video game. Not really the technical part, but the management part. So there was so much potential because that was an industry which was growing fast at that time. And everybody wanted to make their own company, make video games. But I think from now, thinking to the past, I think that it's not everybody who knows how to manage a project so that it fits making video games. Because you need to have the market, you need to get your target audience. You need to make sure that on the technical part you will be fine. You need to make sure the deadlines are fine. that the artists have enough creativity without passing the deadlines, etc. That's complicated. You also have to be good at public relationships, so that when your game is finished, you have to sell it. Actually, there is a big schedule to planify. If you want to make a release of a game, you have to talk about it long before and make people want to wait for it. That's really not simple. And in Taiwan, a lot of companies tried to make video games, and sometimes they succeeded, but most of the time they failed. So at that time, it was very common for a game developer to work on multiple projects, finish multiple games, and see none of them being published.
Not even published?
Yeah. I think none of the video games that I worked on in Taiwan have been published, including one which I did alone for a friend who was an artist. He wanted to make his own video game, and I rewrote the program so that he could work without Flash, and I finished it. He just needed to publish it, and he said, I'm not sure if I want to publish it. There is only 3 levels. I need to wait until I have time to write more art so that there is more levels. And in the end, he never published it.
Okay, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, but really.
So how long did you work in the gaming industry?
Let me think. 15 years, I think. The last 5 years, I was doing something different. It's kind of tiresome to be working in the game industry in the jungle. What I call the jungle is that sometimes the management has no idea what they want. When they will finish something, they start prototypes, they have no vision. Or if they have a vision, they don't have something else that matches the vision to make it work, like no partners. And it's also a bit complicated when you are a talented developer. You try to be technical, you explain the things that has to be done with your boss. If your boss is not technical, he will not understand you. And there was, I think, the last game company where I worked, it ended up pretty bad because I lost track of what my boss wanted. I still don't know exactly what he wanted. But he also lost track of what I was doing. And I was doing something which I thought was valuable, and he was thinking the opposite. Okay. I got fired.
Sorry to hear.
No, it's okay. The first time in my life where I got fired, it made me think if I want to do more of that in my life. And I decided that maybe it was time to do something else. So I thought that maybe making video games is not very useful for the public. So I wanted to do something else. I thought about working on websites and learning how to develop websites, because that's useful to me. It's the key to connect people. It was the key at that time. It's still the key now. It did not change. And it reminded me the slogan from Nokia, connecting people. That was exactly what game development was for me at that time, yeah. And after a couple of months is learning how JavaScript is working, how the ecosystem is working, I ran into something called Clojure.
Ooh.
And that looked interesting. I had already a background in functional language. I was using a lot of Scheme when I was in the university. And I actually was really a fan of Scheme. I was doing that during my free time on weekends and doing some side projects using it. I did not learn some of the advanced syntax, but I was doing advanced stuff with it. So when I saw Clojure and I understood that it works on the back end and front end, it it made me understand that maybe that's a place where I want to be.
Did you start working in Clojure right after learning JavaScript, or did you have some kind of basic web dev job before that, or how did that story go?
So my situation was quite special. After at the time where I got fired from the game industry, I did not get fired from the game industry, but that's how it felt. I was a single parent, so I took care of my daughter, and out of nowhere, I got the custody, and I had to bring her to the school every day. That was a bilingual school, and come back, and I felt that she needed to spend more time with me, so I decided to do something not challenging for work. And I noticed that the school where she was going had a position. People were looking for an assistant to help somebody do something using a computer. So they were not really sure what they needed. So I said, okay, let's try that. And I got hired. I started to work on small projects, help on small things. And I had a lot of free time actually in that work, because most of this work was just to show up at the school. And I was already doing that by bringing my daughter to school. So that was easy. And because I had a lot of free time, I also learned quite a lot during that year. Everything I know about JavaScript came from there. 6 months later, when I discovered Clojure, I still could not use it at work, but from home in the evening, I was learning it non-stop. As soon as I was no longer a parent because my daughter was sleeping, I was on the documentation doing some exercises to understand all the basic functions of Clojure core was working. And I was also watching a lot of videos about Clojure on YouTube. I think I watched 80% of all the videos from Rich Hickey, many from David Nolan as well, a few from people in Metozin. So yeah, that was part of the learning process. I made myself a list of talented people from who I wanted to learn, and some people were from Metozin.
When did you get your first gig in Clojure?
So after a year, the school realized actually they didn't really need an assistant. I was hired just because of some administrative reasons. And it took them 1 year to realize that I was not really needed. I was doing some experiments, but that was not something that they needed. And okay. They told me that basically I'm not needed, and at that time I already got a good level in Clojure. So as soon as I found a Clojure job, I left the school and started working on it. At that time in Taiwan, there was really nobody developing in Clojure. There was a really small Clojure community, but mostly hobbyists. There was no job, so the only way to be professional using Clojure was to work on a remote project. And I got lucky and unlucky at the same time. So when you're a developer and you get a job, it means somebody needs some help. So that's good luck for you. And then when you look at the code and when you have the expectation of, okay, I'm going to be a functional developer, I'm going to apply everything cool that I learned from all those YouTube videos from David Nolan and Rich Hickey and everything, and you look at the source code you get, that's unfortunate. So that's the reality of life, is people call for you to solve the problem. And my first gig was really not an easy project, because although it was Clojure, so it was comfortable to work in the REPL, the code base was not really the best it could be.
How long did you work on that project?
Let me think. I'm not sure. Maybe only 6 months.
Was it like a
I'm not sure.
web full stack, or what kind of project was it?
It was full stack. There was Clojure on both sides. The database was Postgres, I think, and we were using Hug SQL at that time to write the queries. I was mostly working on the front end. We were using Reframe, so that was one of the libraries that I already learned. So I was pretty familiar with how it worked. It's just that the patterns used were quite different. A lot of entanglement between the components. We knew too much about everything. So that was actually my first job, and first job was full stack Clojure. That was pretty cool. But at some point I had enough of the code base. The lead of the development team left, and I think I left a few months after.
Where did you end up next?
So from Taiwan, unless you can find a Clojure job remotely, then you cannot find one. So I think there was a period of time where I became a father again, and I really needed to get income. So I prioritized getting a salary instead of doing something I really enjoyed. And I worked for a French company as a remote developer. And I was working on a front end made in JavaScript. There was a bit of TypeScript as well. So the company was, the name is Gandhi. They are famous in France. They sell services for buying some domain names. And that was quite cool for me because it was at that time a long time since I did not speak in French with people, my own native language. So that was pretty relaxing, and I realized that in France the pressure you could feel from work is a lot reduced compared to what you could feel in Taiwan. There is a lot less expectation on productivity. A lot more expectation on the human nature of people. That was more relaxing. Yeah.
That sounds good. How does Finnish work-life balance compare to Taiwanese or French one?
How to say? I want to say an anecdote. It's since I worked with Metozin, which is a Finnish company, there was one thing that surprised me a lot. That should not surprise me, but that surprised me is that somebody arrived at the morning meeting and said, "I'm sorry, I'm tired, I have a headache, I go back to sleep, bye." And I realized, wow, he went back to sleep. He did not even ask the permission. Can he do that? And apparently, yes. And people understood. And I was even more surprised that the boss, the manager, everything is okay.
What is happening?
Okay. And I was wondering if it happens in Taiwan, your boss will be super upset. The boss will say, "Not my problem. Be on time. You are at work. Just work now." No, I'm a bit exaggerating, but it's just that people talk about things that makes us human. We are not perfect. People talk about it in Finland, in France, and in Taiwan. They tend to hide it a little bit because there is not the same expectation.
Okay.
And to me, that does not change the productivity of people. It's just that in Taiwan, it's a kind of taboo. People don't tell their boss, "You know what, I'm tired, I'm going home now. See you tomorrow."
So you work for a Finnish company. How did you make the transfer from Taiwan working to French company to Metosin in Finland?
So that was there was some kind of luck. It was just happening one day where I was browsing internet. There was still Twitter at that time. At that time it was not a problem to use Twitter. It was a very neutral platform, and I was reading. I had still an account on it, and somebody from Metosin just tweeted, "We are looking for people. If you think you are, what was the formula at that time? Something related to Sapiens."
I don't remember the slogan. No.
Unconventional sapien, and I told myself,
that
wow,
rings a bell.
Okay. Sounds like me. So I contacted the person. It was Mikko, who was at that time the CEO of Metosin, and I say, hey, are you okay with people who work from a remote location? And he said, yeah, send us your resume and we will see later. So I applied. What I did is, at that time, I already had quite a few open source projects on GitHub. So I gave my profile URL, and on the front page, I make sure that the first thing you see is the Clojure projects there. So yeah, that was, I think that was the reason why they thought maybe I'm good enough. Maybe there is a match.
So you started working remotely from Taiwan to Finland, right?
Yeah. That was difficult because of the time difference. I had to start my day. Actually, I could start my day when I wanted, but that was not convenient because in the end of the day, you miss some information because people talk when you sleep. So I decided to shift my time a little bit. And I usually started to work around 1 o'clock in the afternoon until 10 or 11 in the evening.
Okay.
And yeah, that was kind of not simple because in Taiwan you get the night around 6 p.m. So half of my day, my working day was during the night.
Okay.
Now the good part about it is if I wake up and it's still the morning, I have time. That was enjoyable. At that time, I could just wake up, take my computer and scooter and go next to the sea and have some relaxing time, and then find a coffee shop and start to work from there.
How long did you do remote before you moved to Finland?
I need to remember. I'm not sure. 1 year and a half, maybe 2 years.
Well, that's a long time.
Maybe 2 years, yeah. And actually, nobody from Finland asked me to come. It's just that working from Taiwan, I told myself that maybe that would be a good opportunity for me to travel. So I kind of did a lot of preparation with my wife to convince her that we should try to go to another country just because we can, and also because Finland is a good destination. At that time where we were trying to think about living in Finland, there was a lot of publicity about the country. The government was mainly composed of women. The main political party was socialist. We have a young daughter, so we thought that maybe, those small signals, they add up, and maybe it means that this is a good place for our daughter to grow up and be happy, and that will be just something different, and she will have more experience about different culture. So I came to Finland alone first to take a look and see how I feel about the country. I made sure to try as many things as possible. During my first visit, I went to ski. It was during the winter, and I remember Valtteri, which is now the CEO of Methozine, invited me to go to some summer house, but it was during the winter. There was a frozen lake, and we went to play in the water after digging a hole. So, and then I realized at that time that it doesn't look like everybody in Finland does this. So maybe it was a bit a stereotype. So maybe I did push them to go into the frozen lake.
I don't do that.
Yeah. So I think I documented everything I saw, everything I ate, because in Taiwan, what you eat is important. That's a national sport. Taking pictures as well of what you eat is a second national sport.
Okay.
And then I came back, and then it took 1 more year for me to convince my wife to move there. And at some point, we realized that there was some problem with pollution in Taiwan, and I started to have allergies to some materials in some buildings in Taiwan. My daughter started to be sick as well. It looked like she had something similar to what I had, and so at that time, my wife was really convinced that we should just move somewhere else where there is less pollution, and hopefully it will be better. And this is what happened. It got better.
And now you've been in Finland for a year, a little bit over a year. Do I remember correctly?
A year and a half already.
Okay.
So that was pretty cool. It's a big change when you arrive in a country and you only have your luggages, and your 20 years of life behind you are just gone, because there is no home left in Taiwan. There is nothing that I left behind. I had to sell all my belongings, my beloved motorcycle. That's a big change. And then you have to wait a few weeks, and then some boxes started to arrive, but still you don't have a place to put them, so you stay in a corner until a couple of months later, where you have your first apartment finally. You don't live anymore in an Airbnb, and it takes some time to settle in Finland.
Yeah, I can understand that. I still have a few boxes in the corner hiding here. I put them away from the camera so you cannot see them.
You moved to Panama. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's even more complicated when you have a daughter, because kids have some habits. They want to play with people, and when you go to another country where people don't talk to each other that much, there is a culture shock. So my wife did her best to bring her to some activities so that she can meet other kids. We find how to register her to school. It took quite a long time to do that. We didn't know, but there is some long queues until you get a spot in a school in Finland. So if you plan to go to Finland, planify that. That's important.
Is she like in preschool, or what age?
She was in the päiväkoti. That's before the school. I'm not sure how
like
to call
kindergarten.
That. Yeah, kindergarten.
Yeah, for kindergartens and preschools, there's queues, but for the elementary school, you get in without waiting. So that's a bit different.
Oh, yeah, because it was optional, yeah.
So now you've been in Finland and you've been going hard at open source projects. You had a bunch of them that I've been following from the sidelines. Should we get into that a little?
Yeah. So what happened is that, it's like an iceberg where you only see the top, and you don't know where they come from, why they float. And in the open source world, there is the same. When there is a library author who work on something, most of the time they will not show anything public until it start to work. And if what they do is complicated, you will not see anything for a few years. And there was one project that took me many years to develop. I had a first prototype pretty quickly, but before I could reach something usable, I needed to write some side libraries that could help with many small things. And what happened is that I almost gave up many times. At some point, I thought that maybe by joining Metosin in Finland, I could find some people motivated to help. But later, I realized that this is not how reality works. In reality, people have their own interest. It doesn't matter if you love Clojure. If you love Clojure, then you have something else to do with Clojure. And I was also wondering about me. Am I interested in the libraries written by other people? And I realized, well, no, I have one to finish first. And then I realized that maybe I was a bit too optimistic when I thought that I could get some help. When people come to help you, you don't choose it. It's like finding your wife. So what happened is I am bad at giving up. I should have given up many years ago, so I had a lot more free time to do things in my life. And I am bad at giving up, so I came back to that same project over and over. I've rewrote it, I think, 3 times. And each time I had a different level of seniority with the language or the approach, or maybe my vision of the project got more precise. I knew exactly what I wanted, how I would do something that maybe a year before was still unclear to me. And I started to have the complete picture. But the project itself was too big, and I realized that maybe now that I have something that works, instead of releasing it as one big project that is doing too many things to match what people want, I should cut it into small pieces, and maybe each piece can be reused by other people. So that's how I did.
What's the project?
Multiple projects. So the main idea was to develop a framework to do some DOM rendering inside the browser. So let's call it something like React, except that it's not React and it's made only with Clojure. And I wanted something efficient and without having some diffing of virtual DOMs. There is some project already existing that does something similar in the JavaScript world. So what I did is I went into the source code of those projects. There is one that influenced me a lot. It was Solid.js. And I had no idea how it was working. From the source code, it was not obvious. So I started to look at the video from the guy who developed it, and I realized that, actually, the algorithm he is using was developed by somebody else. And then by going back to the source, I found finally one article that explained how the signals were implemented in their way, and I implemented it in Clojure and made a separate project for that. The name is Signali. It means signals, and now it's on GitHub. You can use it. It's especially useful if you want to have something in the front end. So maybe I don't know if I lose track of the discussion. Should I continue talking about it?
Yeah, you're still on it. So we started with you getting into open source, and you had this big idea that you rewrote 3 times, and then you did a couple of smaller projects out of that, and one of them was Signali, based on Signals.js. And what was the original project? That's the main project in this context.
So the name is VRAC, and
how do you spell it?
VRAC.
Okay.
So VRAC means without the packaging in French, and Yeah, it's like you get the food, but just the food, no packaging. So it's the idea is really to have the content and not the wrapping. How does it relate to a front-end framework? Because I spent quite a lot of time developing front-end and hating what I was seeing in the source code, not necessarily written by others, also written by me. It's just that I realized I don't have the right tools to write it in a better way, so I have to write it in this way because it works, because it executes and does the job. And I grew a bit frustrated because I realized in many times that I want to do something pretty simple, that if I wanted to explain what I'm trying to do to a human next to me, that would be very simple. But then when I want to write it as a program, it's very verbose, and because it's verbose, it's also very prone to errors. And I thought, okay, how can I minimize what I put in my program so that the computer can understand what I say. If it understands what I say, I don't have to repeat in multiple places what I try to do. And that's the main idea. So if I wanted to summarize it a little bit, that would be just to find some kind of semantic good enough so that you can represent some front end using it, but poor enough so that it does not go full bar. You want to have a simple semantic. Yeah, this is really the sweet spot between too complicated and too simple. And by iterating on some kind of documentation I wrote for myself of what should be inside this syntax, I got it done. I have something that looks promising, and I think I can finally implement it. But now, that's something pretty abstract. And if I want to have something that runs based on that, I need to have a runtime. And I could have anything that displays reactive, some reactive DOM as a runtime. But I spent already some time learning how the signals were working, that I told myself, you know what, let's write this runtime this time. Because in the past, I tried to start from something semantic and then find the runtime, and that was too many problems to solve at the same time, and I could not fix it. Now, in 2024, I think I did the opposite. I started with the low level, I wrote Signally, and then later I wrote a library which allows you to write reactive DOM based on signals. Sorry for the noise, it's my cat again. And by going from the bottom to the top, and by knowing in advance where I want to go, I'm able to connect the high level and the low level. So now the low level is written, we have a library, we can use it to replace React, and it works, and it's more efficient than React. Now the problem is there is no ecosystem, so if you want to have your button, you have to put the style by yourself. But at least you are free, and you can customize the framework. It's very small in terms of lines of code, also in terms of kilobytes. When you write an application using that, it's really not taking a lot of memory in the browser, and it's fast to download. And it's only Clojure.
And this is the project under Metosin GitHub VRAC rack, right?
Yes, that's where you can find it. Now, that's only the runtime. The ID has not been, the final ID has not been implemented yet. It's to have a DSL, a domain-specific language, to represent the semantic of having something on the page. And that kind of semantic is helping to analyze the transformations of data you do. So that the idea is that it doesn't matter where you write some computations, The framework will understand what it depends on, what it is. It can provide those information to some debug tools, which can help the developer navigate his own program without having to run the program all the time. So those are the kind of weaknesses that the front-end frameworks have nowadays. They are good to execute things. For legacy reasons, some of them they are slow, like React is doing a kind of diff. My goal is really to put the developer experience first. In my vision, if it is simple to use by the developer, then people will save a lot of time during the development.
That sounds good. Before we started this chat, you told me that you will make some video content of these tools to encourage people to get started. So when can we expect some of this to hit the internet?
Soon. But what I actually have in mind is to describe a little bit a mix between what I'm doing with VRAC and what I'm doing with AI. Because I put VRAC on pause so that I could learn as much as I could about AI in the context of writing program. So the idea is that I have a new library, and now we live already in the era of agentic AI. Developers are using those assistants daily. So if the assistant doesn't know the library you write, then it's as if the world doesn't know and they are not going to use it. So because there is such a big disadvantage now, where the AI only helps the existing libraries and provides no help for anything else.
So you basically need to generate enough context for the agents to be able to help you out.
Yes. So I think there is two ways to do that. The first is to write a lot of examples online and cross fingers so that the big the programs that browse internet to gather knowledge and make a compilation and learn based on that, you want those programs to download your samples and learn about your library. But if you don't have the luxury of doing that because you don't have a lot of users, there is another way. You can still use some dynamic context that you give to the agentic AI to explain how your library is working, so that if it is not already integrated in the knowledge of the agent, it can learn based on that. And now there is an issue. It's the size of the context window for the dynamic knowledge is limited. So if people are working on a large project, they will use a big part of that context window for their own project. Now, if as a library you take a big bite of it, that will make the AI less useful because it will start to forget things when the context window is full.
You don't have enough short-term memory for your library.
Yeah, that's the short-term memory. So you have to make sure that when you teach about your library to the AI, you do it in a very efficient way. And I have tried a few experiments to make sure that it works in the most efficient way. And maybe I can explain what I did.
Yeah, please.
So I started with Claude Desktop, which actually doesn't have any native access to any source code. Normally, it used to be a software that you use just to ask questions about what the AI already know, and maybe you can make some searches online through the web. And then people realize that, hey, it has access to the MFC tools. And sorry, not MFC, MCP tools. And so like this, we can give a bridge to our source code to the AI. And somebody in the Clojure community started to write some experiment about this. And it was kind of interesting. At that time, I wanted to learn what you can do on the MCP protocol. So I went to read the full specs, and I realized that maybe after I understand it, it's simple to implement. So I did the same that what I did 20 years ago with my GBA emulator. I read a small part and I thought, I think this is within my skill, I can do that. So I gave it a try. And I'm the kind of learner who learns things by doing things. So just for myself as a beginning, I wrote the code that does the MCP communication. And my first test was to talk to a cloud desktop. And that's how the code base for the MCP Toolkit started. Because after my experiment was done, I realized, well, hey, AI is coming to the market, to the big mass. There is more and more people interested in it. So what will happen? And I started to make some prediction. And I told myself, okay, if I am interested by that, and if I wrote that piece of code, tomorrow and after tomorrow, there will be another one doing the same. And then we will have some problems because we will have many small libraries that does exactly the same. And that start to look like the curse of Lisp, where things are too simple that everybody is writing their own software in their own corner and nothing is compatible, there is no standard. So that if you want to build on the top of it, then there is a problem. And I also realized that similar to the Ring protocol, I don't know if I can call it a protocol. It's more like a standard, a way to represent a web request in Clojure data structure. It is used everywhere now. And it is used everywhere because at the very beginning, somebody talented thought about it. And he thought, okay, everybody is doing something different. We need to find the common denominator between all those projects and make sure that it covers everybody's need. Sorry for the cat.
I think the cat needs the needs met, right?
I don't know what the cat means. So, yeah. So what happened is that I tried to make my code base into a library by removing anything that could be a problem for people. So I tried to find the common denominator that would satisfy everybody. And I intentionally kept everything that could be a source of discussion that could lead to people not choosing to use this library. So that's why in the MCP Toolkit, you don't have anything related to the transport. You only have some piece of code that listen to some messages. So the interface is you bring the message to the library, and the library is parsing it and calling the right callback. Your callback is your tools, your prompts, your resource handling code, and then those callback return some Clojure values. And then the library takes those values back, write them down inside the MCP protocol, and it gives a packet to the caller. And the caller is actually you, because you act like the transport. And because I did not say anything about the transport, I'm still compatible with any different ways those messages could be transported. And after I was done doing that, it seems that there have been some major depreciation of one of the transport made in the MCP protocol. I think it was HTTP SSE that got deprecated. Now there is a new way to do that. So if you wrote something that was doing that before, then now you can scrap it, or you have to refactor it to match the new spec. Fortunately, I don't have to do that. But yeah, I actually realized that if people want to use a library, they need to have some convenience. So you still have to provide some transport, but I did it in a different way. I did not put it in the library, but I provided some examples using it. And I wrote the most simple one, the
Maybe you can share your screen to show some examples.
Yeah, I could do that. Let me find how to share the screen. Check. Entire screen. This one. Oh yeah, so I forgot I had IDE open. So what I was saying is that I made a sample where the basic transport is implemented so that people can have something to start with. And if they don't like the way the transport is working, they can write their own, but at least they can take what is already provided in the example. Was that I realized that inside the MCP library, MCP Toolkit, you still needed to have some examples to provide the user so that they have something to start with. And if they don't like how the transport is being implemented, they can change it without changing how they use the library. And I was lucky that I got somebody to contribute the HTTP SSE sample. That saves some time. I don't have to write it myself. So thanks for the contributor. I think his nickname is Casey. And then I reorganized a little bit afterward how the examples are working. So here you have one directory that contains only the prompt, the resources, and the MCP tools. And you can use them from any of the transport-focused project. So let me take a look at what they look like. Let me show what they look like. So this is an MCP tool. It takes a string as input and returns a string as output. And what it demonstrates is how you specify the inputs and the outputs. Actually, I think I am not specifying the output. The output is always some text. I'm not sure how it works. I kind of forgot. This part here, this is real. This part is based on the MCP spec, so that I don't have to write my own spec to explain people how it works. I want people to read the official spec. It's simple enough to get it working and to just write it down in the EDN notation here, and that should work. So like this, people can just reuse some samples they find online, and it should work here in the same way. If there is a way to specify the output, that's going to be in the same place, in the same way. Now, the part which is not coming from the MCP protocol is this part. It's a function which is actually the function that does things. It takes input, it returns some output, and it also does it in an async way. In the middle, you can see there is some delays here, additional delays here. We use the opportunity to show how the progress notification is working. Here we let the client know that we are taking our time to process something that will be quite long. So it's progress 1 out of 3. And what we are doing is we are syncing, because we are simulating something complicated. And we do that a couple of times. Here we are syncing harder. And but this message in some tools is going to show on the user's screen, so it can be useful. And here we can see if the task was cancelled, and that's something easy to check if you use this library. That will be a bit more complicated. You would have to do some plumbing if you want to implement it yourself. So I'm hopeful that what I did, the suffering, the testing, the bugs I had, I hope that nobody else has to go through that again. And in the end, here we have the result. So the result is some text, which is actually just the input text, but with some extra parentheses around. So the task says that it took 3 seconds of thinking to put some expression inside the parentheses. So this is just a small joke. Remember, I was a game developer. I have a very specific sense of humor. And and you can also see that if there are some exceptions happening in the middle, there is also a way to return the value, and this will be sent over the MCP protocol to the client, and everything should work as normal. And so this is a generic example of a tool. In your case, you might want to do something a bit more complicated than just putting some text in parentheses. You may want to, for example, start a REPL, rewrite the part of the program, generate an image, returning that, or you may accept some comments in a specific format. So actually, when you say what is the format of the input, what it does is that it signals the AI that if you want to call me, to use me, then this is how you should do it. I need this information, and this extra other one. And it's useful to say what is the description of each input, because sometimes the user will just send a lot of information to the AI, and the AI can pick up small bits of what is needed to call that tool inside the discussion, and then is going to format it in the right way. So that's what I like about AI. It's that you can tell your life to the AI, and it still will pick up the information that is needed to do the task it wants to do. So it's like a very patient psychologist.
How would you then wrap this Parentify tool to be accessible from Cloud Code, for example?
So I would, right now is defined as a hash map that contains some the function itself, but also some metadata. I would just tell the library, hey, here is a MCP tool, add it to your registry so that it is callable from the other side. And I will do that from, let's take a look at the project CLJC server stdio. So this is one of the protocols that you can use to make Cloud Desktop talk to your own code. stdio is the simplest way possible. There is no authentication. You have to run it locally on your computer so that it is accessible from Cloud Desktop. Mm-hmm. And let's see how it looks like. So here there are some. This project showcase something. It's CLJC. It works both on Node.js and on the Java machine. The reason why I try to cover both sides of the language is that there is potentially some users on both sides. I know at least one project which is implemented partially in Clojure script. I think it's what is the name? Backseat driver. It's from Pez, who is the author of Calva. If you are a Clojurean and you develop on VS Code, then you probably are going to use his code, or maybe. And so he has this need. I took a look at his source code, and I could not understand exactly what he was trying to do. There was a lot of redirection. I think there is a proxy in the middle between different parts. I forgot if it was related to which part starts first or where they are located. But in the end of his explanation, he told me that for some technical reason, he still have to run the MCP server in Clojure script. And that's where he ran into trouble, because he had to do the plumbing that I I did exactly in this library. So when he told me his use case, I decided to make sure that it works, at least that it could be used by him. So now the project has a release. It's an alpha version, but there is no bug found, so he can use it if he has time and if he wants.
Sounds good.
So here is how you use it. You have a session, and that session contains all the data that represent the knowledge that the server has from the client, as well as the ongoing messages between the client and the server, but viewed from the server perspective. This library also handles the client side, so most of the code you could see exists in a similar way for the client. We reuse the same design patterns, so it should look very familiar. And you can provide a list of prompts, resources, and tools from the beginning. I try to cover all the features implemented by the MCP protocol, and I think I almost did. I think I did, but I did not test everything. Let me catch my breath a little bit. And one of the objectives for this library was that I wanted the developer to have a good experience using it. So on my list of things I wanted was a good story for the REPL. So I wanted that dynamically you could add a tool to the protocol, and some clients detect when you add a tool. Some clients, they just ignore it, but at least the message in the MCP protocol is sent from the server to the client to say, hey, here is a new tool. And in order to do that, the developer just have to call a function from the library. I think it's called add tool. Let me see if I can find. Oh yeah, so at the bottom I have my small scratch pad. So where is it? It's here. Add tool. So this is a leftover, should be in the other project, but that's how you use it. You give the context, which has a link to the session. The context contains configuration plus the session. And you pass the context as a first param for most of the functions in this library. So the pattern is very simple. And so you can add a tool, remove a tool. You can do the same with the resources. You can do the same with the prompts. And
so you're essentially providing access from the REPL to the MCP server. So when you're developing with AI, you can go to your REPL and like update the tools on the fly that the server has. Did I get that correctly? Yeah,
you get it correctly. If your MCP client is good at picking up the updates, which means it really implements the MCP protocol, then you can really use the REPL and make some adjustments to your MCP tools and prompts and test them right away. And you can also send some messages to the client. I think there is, here you can send some data to the client. For example, you can say, hey, this is, let me see, what are those params? Oh, okay, I don't have the auto-completion, but there is a few parameters. The last one is, I forgot how it works.
So you basically create the tool and you have prompts and resources. Could you show some of the prompts that you had in the example, how they look on a code level?
Yeah. So I show the tool here. I show how it works with the async. The tool and the prompts are not that different. In terms of async, it works the same way. Because I wanted to run both on Clojure script and Clojure, I chose a library which handles async in the same way. So you can use the same code base, and without having to choose in advance where your code is going to run, in 6 months, for example. So I used Promesa, which is something that provides an abstraction similar to the promise of Clojure script, or I should say JavaScript. And you can use it on the Java machine. I heard from the Borg that is going to work soon on Babashka as well. So if you want to write your MCP server in Babashka for something simple, go ahead, you can do that. So here I have a function that takes some input params. Here in this sample, this is a list of expressions. And the description of the prompt is talk like a pirate. So it's a prompt. And I ran out of ideas for this. If you have a better idea of what I can put in my sample, I'm very welcome.
This is a good example, no worries.
Yeah, so what happened is I learned how to use a protocol before I learned exactly what cool things you can do with a prompt. To me, the value came more from the MCP tools than the prompts themselves. So I was counting on learning how to use the prompts later on from the blogs of other people. I wanted to try something different first and learn the basics later. So here you have the input, which is an expression, and then I generate some text. And the text is actually asking the AI to talk like a parrot, but using some specific set of expressions. And I tried it, and it worked. That was quite funny, and so it's a bit like the GBA emulator. I call it the girlfriend advance. Mistakes were made.
So now we have MCP Toolkit that allows you to define these constructs in Clojure, and then you just need to provide the server and the transport basically to connect these with your tools. And then you can access them either through REPL or through code or whatever platform that supports MCP connections, right?
Yes. So what happened is that you can either let... actually, if you use the most basic transport, stdio, you will let Cloud Desktop create the server. It will create it through the command line. But what you can do is, let me see the deps.adn for this sample. What you can do is, when the project starts, it also starts with a server. I think I have here, this library is nREPL, and when you launch it, this one is another one. When you launch it, where is it? Oh, I'm puzzled. Okay, so what I wanted to say is that when you launch it, you can start the REPL and you can connect to it through a remote REPL connection from your IDE, and then you can start to work on your server without stopping it. So that's how I did. It was working quite well, but there is a few tricks. For Cloud Desktop, if you want the client to be aware that the tools has changed, you have to go in a menu and ask the list of the tools, and only at that time it's going to refresh the tools which are available. So it's a kind of bug and workaround. I hope that in the future they will fix it. But it's still possible to keep your server running and keep working on it. There is no problem.
Cool. And you can find all of this under Metosin GitHub, Metosin/MCP Toolkit, right?
Yeah. I don't know where I have my browser, but yeah, that's the ID.
Cool. I can put a link to the show notes or something.
Okay.
Thank you for the tour. What is the part that you're the most excited about this MCP Toolkit now? Do you want people to start using it and providing feedback, or are you just going to jump to the next project? What's next up for you?
Well, very often I spend a lot of time writing tools and I'm not using them that much. For example, the Game Boy emulator, I could have used it to develop my Game Boy game. I didn't. Now, I spend a lot of time writing the front-end library. It runs now. I could use it to write things with it, but I'm still busy writing the other part, which is missing, not totally done. So I'm still not a user. And for this library, the MCP Toolkit, I try not to fall into the same trap. So I started using it and run some experiments because I don't want to be just the guy who writes the tool. I also want to use them and do great things with them. That can sound very strange. You know, when you are a game developer, even though you love games a lot, it doesn't mean you spend a lot of time playing those games because you may be super busy writing your own game and then you have to focus on just that. So that's a problem, being the user or being the author.
But yeah, I can understand that if you're working in gaming and you're creating games, you really don't necessarily have time to play those games, even if you wanted to do that.
Yeah. There are a few ideas that I actually wanted to try. The first reason why I made this MCP code base was to try some ideas, and then I had to pause trying those ideas so I can complete the library. Now the library start to work. There are people contributing. Maybe I can take some time to use it. So I had an idea about when we create a new project from scratch. We usually give a template and we ask a very specific program. Okay, put a few values inside that template. For example, the name of the project, sometimes the list of the libraries you want inside or some features, and then scaffold the project for me, please. And I realized that, this maybe, now we can try to do it differently. How about I tell the AI the different steps that I would usually do manually when I create a new project, and I let the AI understand what I taught it, and let's see what the AI can do. Now that I say I want, for example, to create a new project for VRAC, and so the idea was to provide a description step by step of what I want and give some examples of what code is generated, so that maybe later, after I'm done scaffolding the template, after I've done modifying myself the project, maybe I can say, hey, you know what? I want one more of that feature here. And my hope was that the AI at that time would already have the knowledge of adding one more of that feature here, and would do it in a better way, or without being blocked by the fact that you already started to modify the project. So that was the starting idea. And I did try this experiment, and it was a total failure. And
okay.
And I want to explain why it was a failure. I did not realize that as a human, when you start a new project, you have an idea of what you will get. It's not as if you go in a restaurant, you order some pasta, and you get a pizza. And you wonder, okay, it's a pizza. I'm just hungry. I'm okay with the pizza, although I would prefer some pasta. And then when you do that with AI, and the AI gives you some generated code that runs, that compiles, but you wonder why there is a part of the code which has nothing to do right in that empty project. Why there is some pizza in my source code. And the reason is that usually you don't start by asking the AI, hey, start a new project. Usually you start communicating with the AI about an idea you have in mind, and ask the AI, I have this idea. What other things does it make you think about? And then it gives you some feedback. And then there is a dialogue, kind of feedback loop where you give some information, you get some information, you filter what you want and what you don't. And then you iterate on that. And when you think, okay, I'm ready for implementing something, you ask the AI, okay, make me food. And that's where the disaster starts. I tried the experiment. I tried to run multiple times the scaffolding of a project. Each time I got a different result. And each time with the same input. And sometimes I talk about nothing before. So I think what happened is that in the knowledge base of the AI, the short-term memory, I probably have a few lines saying that, yes, I am a Clojure developer, and I am writing a front-end framework. And now the AI is trying to create a project based on that because it has no idea that, no, I want a perfectly clean project that I'm asking. So that was a total failure, but at least I know why.
If you had to summarize in 1 or 2 points all that you've learned about AI-driven development in the past few months while working on MCP Toolkit and doing these experiments, what would they be?
What I learned is that a lot of things that together form something bigger. Let me think. What I've learned, the first thing I've learned when I learned AI was introspection, because it's not as if there is a tool and you learn how to use a tool and you are done. Actually, there is no instruction manual. Nobody knows how it works. Everybody has a different way to use it. There is a principle. You know, basically that there is a network behind with some weights on some decisions. There is so many of them that there is emergent behavior. So you know that, everybody knows that. But you have no idea if this will be enough in your situation to do what you want to do. And I realized that the first obstacle to learn that tool was the human itself. We are not used to ask AI to do something for us. We are not used to ask silly questions to anybody. Why would we start to do it with the AI? So it starts with a shift in how you talk to yourself, because now you have to stop talking to yourself. You have to replace that yourself with, okay, maybe it's myself or the AI. And maybe the AI can help me. Maybe it's going to bullshit me. I don't know. But you have to try. And that's the idea, is that there is a lot of frustration based on AI because there is a lot of expectation. And when those expectations are met, it's a hit. When it does not hit, then it's a big miss. And the miss is not just your time, which is wasted. It affects your own mood sometimes. So you have to get used to that. For example, if you talk to somebody for 1 hour, trying to lead the situation, the discussion towards something that you have in mind, something that is, you know, is constructive, and you don't get that because that person keep changing subject or misunderstand you, you will be frustrating. And with the AI, sometimes it can happen. If you are trying to do something a bit special that it didn't learn how to do before, it's going to happen. And you don't only waste your time. Sometimes it really does affect you. So one of the first steps is understanding that you are talking to a program. You should set your expectation to the minimum. You should know that it's going to make you feel tired, but it should not make you feel tired. You also have to learn that you should not expect what it knows or what it doesn't, because from my personal experience, it knows things that I did not suspect. Right. It's just that by luck it finds a way in its knowledge base to find the path to something that I thought that nobody thought about. And sometimes when I want something simple and it doesn't get it, stay cool, rephrase, start a new discussion, clear the context, and start over. And keep in mind that you are not throwing all your efforts to the trash. There is the context, there is already a stronger base for the prompt, and you are going to iterate. How to use that tool is a lot related to how you talk to yourself, how you learn how to communicate with other people, and do not treat other people like how you talk to the AI. That's not going to work.
I think that's a perfect last dot on the conversation on AI.
Yeah.
So what's next for you? What are you going to work on next after all this MCP Toolkit stuff? Do you have something that you want to finish? You mentioned the VRAC DSL earlier.
Yeah. So there is an experiment I started 3 weeks ago, and I didn't touch it since because I work on a new project. But the idea is quite simple. It's the runtime of VRAC, the one which is already implemented that works, is quite not popular. Nobody is using it except myself for a few tests. And the AI has no idea of what it does, how it works, even though I provided multiple examples. And when I try to make Claude code, write something that works with that, I realized that he has no idea what to do. He started to generate some hiccup when the syntax is more like UIX. And so I realized, okay, I needed to learn how to tell Claude how he should learn about that library. And that's my first experiment, is write some knowledge base. But I'm not writing some knowledge base for the public. I'm writing it for Claude. Claude, who already knows a lot of things about front-end. He knows all the patterns from the JavaScript world. So there is so many projects in JavaScript that if you think about a pattern, it must be somewhere. So the difficulty is to just redirect Claude to something he already knows, so he can find the similarity and do some analogy so that you don't have to re-explain how a wheel is turning, for example. And so that was my first project. And I did that just by having an interaction with Claude. I was explaining, okay, give me a to-do list using VRAC. And he did that. And I reviewed, and that contained a lot of errors. I just explained where are those errors. And he got it, and iteration after iteration. At some point, his context was full, but he was able to do something. And at that time, I said, okay, you are Claude. All the things I wrote is for you to understand how to use this library. Now I want you to generate a document that you will use later to understand how to use VRAC. So he did that. That document also contained some mistakes. I had to review it manually, so it was kind of time-consuming, but I knew I was making some progress. And I started a new discussion just based on that context. And that context was pretty succinct because it did not contain anything that Claude himself already knew. So it was only containing novelty information for Claude. So it was pretty small. And I tried to test if it was working. I asked, okay, based on that, generate me a to-do list. And it was able to do something that was working. I did the same for Signally because VRAC and Signally are kind of intertwined. VRAC depends on Signally. And I was about to do the same for VRAC DSL, which is the higher level part of VRAC, which is still in progress. I did not finish my compiler from VRAC DSL to VRAC, but I have the syntax, so I have some documents. I have an idea of how it works, and I thought maybe I can use the AI to experiment on this syntax and see if something is missing. Because maybe I don't need to finish my compiler. Maybe I can explain the AI how it works. And maybe the AI from the DSL can generate some VRAC code. Now he knows how VRAC is working. So I did that, and it looks like it was working. And that's where I had to stop the experiment. So that's the experiment I'm going to continue later on. And if Claude is able to compile the DSL to WordVrac and get something that runs, it means I'm already ready to write and finish the compiler.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, that's the idea, is to use AI to say, what if this compiler works? Is it useful?
Are you going to do video content on this stuff as well, or what's the plan for that?
I think that's going to be related to AI and VRAC.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds
Those
good.
two topics.
Do you already have a YouTube channel or something, or where are you going to post this material?
I don't know yet, so I will see. I have a blog, and usually when I write something useful, I put it into the announcement on Slack. So I will see. I did not decide yet.
No. What's your handle on Clojure in Slack channel?
It's my real name, Vincent Cantin. Otherwise, I think there is some links from my GitHub profile. If you find me at green-coder on GitHub, you should be able to find my blog, my Mastodon account, etc. And if you look for Cantin on Slack, you will find me as well.
Cool. Vincent, thank you for joining me here today. It was really interesting to hear about your story and learn about your AI experiments.
Thanks. I'm super happy to talk to somebody.
Yeah, like we've been working for the same company for a long time, but we really haven't taken the time to actually talk about this stuff. So I was really enjoying the conversation. So thank you. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you.
If you got all the way here until the end, thank you for watching. And if you found this any way entertaining or useful, I'd appreciate it if you'd consider subscribing. Thank you. See you in the next one.